So that bitter cold temperature rolling in means it's going to be a couple of good days there, Sunday through Tuesday, to pull up and watch a good movie. And that leads us to our next guest here on 93.5, 1590 WAKR. A gentleman who does quite a bit of that, as a matter of fact. He's film study professor. He's a good friend of ours on the morning show, Joe Fortunato. He joins us each Friday at this time, as we call it, Film School. And today, he's going to dig into those archives and take us back to 1979 with this one. So, Joe, good morning, my friend. Take it from there. What do you have for us today?
Good morning, Ray. Good morning, everybody. And yeah, this was one I've been kind of looking forward to personally for a while. I've been wanting to do it. We've been talking about a lot of big Oscar winners lately. They don't all have to be Oscar winners here on Film School. And today is one of my personal favorites. We're talking about The Jerk from 1979. In my opinion, one of the great comedies and certainly one of my favorite comedies. It was released December 14th, 1979, so anniversary just last month. Directed by the great Carl Reiner. Written by Steve Martin and Carl Gottlieb, who also wrote Jaws. And I've become friends with Carl Gottlieb over the years, and I've heard some stories about The Jerk. And the story was conceived by Steve Martin and Carl Gottlieb. And, of course, it stars Steve Martin. This is actually his first starring role in a film, as well as Bernadette Peters, Mabel King, and many, many cameos of people throughout the film. As I mentioned, we're not going to get any Oscar nominations for this one, but it does have some awards. I'm using air quotes with that you can't see. Premiere Magazine voted Steve Martin's performance as Nathan Johnson number 99 on their 100 greatest performances of all time. That's a little surprising to me, but I love it. They also voted this movie one of the 50 greatest comedies of all time. IGN Entertainment website ranked this as the 10th top comedy film of all time. So apparently I'm not alone in my love of this film. The box office was very strong. This was the ninth highest grossing picture of 1979, and it was a worldwide success. Either comedy sometimes doesn't travel well overseas, but this one did, grossing over $100 million on a budget of only $4 million. So quite a good return on investment there. This is actually the first of 4 films that Steve Martin made with director Carl Reiner. And I'm assuming most people listening know this, but Carl Reiner, a comedy legend, the father of director Rob Reiner, your show of shows, worked with Mel Brooks. So, Carl Reiner, one of the all-time comedy greats. Anyway, this is one of 4 films he and Steve Martin made together. The others, all great ones, All of Me, The Man with Two Brains, and Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, which is a real unsung gem, and you should look that one up if you haven't. This is actually the first of 2 films that Steve Martin did with Bernadette Peters. The second one was Pennies from Heaven, but they were actually in a relationship, personal relationship, while this film was being made. And in fact, he actually wrote the part of Nathan's girlfriend for Bernadette Peters when they were putting this together. The idea for the film came from a stand-up routine that Steve Martin did and actually included it on one of his comedy albums. In the routine, he claimed to have been, quote, a poor black child growing up. And after hearing his first Mantovani record, he decided to become white. And, of course, that's the linchpin for the storyline for The Jerk. It starts with, I was born a small black child, which I don't know if we could get away with today, but it was pretty funny at the time. This was, I mentioned that this was co-written with Carl Gottlieb, and they said that their goal was, and this is kind of frankly every comedy writer's goal, but that their goal was to provide a laugh on each page of the screenplay. And because of the gas shortage at the time in the late 70s, Steve Martin and Carl Reiner carpooled to the set every day. And because every day we came up with at least 1 or 2 new jokes on the way to work. So that's efficiency at its best when you're dealing with comedy.
Well, that's Joe Fortunato, again, Film School, The Jerk. And this is the one I thought that, Joe, you're more of an expert than me, but I thought this film really put Steve Martin on the map. He was guest appearancing everywhere, but this one right here really jump-started the big time for him.
Well, as a movie star, yes. Like I said, first movie, he was pretty big up until this point, which is why he got the movie in the first place. He was one of the hottest, if not the hottest, stand-up comedians at the time. He was on Saturday Night Live many times. So he was a big name at the time. But yeah, this is the one that got his movie career started. A couple of stories from the production there. If you know the movie, and those who have seen the movie and love it know this, there's a dog. He has a dog throughout this. And the story is that Steve Martin and the dog got off on the wrong foot when he accidentally dropped something on the animal's face. And from then on, it sort of cowered whenever he tried to pet it. So he said it was miserable. The dog hated me. And the folks might know the name of the dog is a curse word that we can't say here on the air. And when they did the TV version, they changed the name of the dog to Stupid instead of
what it
Blankhead, which is what it was in the movie. You can kind of fill in the blanks there. Steve Martin said that his favorite scene in the film was the one with M. Emmett Walsh, who passed away last year, great character actor, and he's shooting the cans at the gas station. And to this day, myself and a number of my friends will use that "he hates these cans" line. So that's Steve Martin's favorite scene in the movie, and that kind of does my heart good to know that. It has permeated the pop culture. There's a sandwich shop in Oregon that named their jerk chicken sandwich the Navin R. Johnson sandwich after Steve Martin's character. And the scene, again, people might remember the scene where he climbs out of the tub and he's reading a goodbye letter from his girlfriend Marie, and the ink smears from the bathwater so that it's unreadable. And that is a nod or an allusion to the great scene in Casablanca, where Rick is reading Ilsa's goodbye letter at the train station, and the rain blends the ink. So, that's kind of cool, I think, because I'm a big lover of Casablanca, and I love anytime someone gives a nod to old films. And this might be my sort of favorite weird little story or anecdote. Of all people, Stanley Kubrick was a big fan of this film, and he would often recite lines from the film to his cast and crew when he was directing films. And he once invited Steve Martin over so they could play chess. So Kubrick, who would have thought?
Yeah, and it's interesting, Joe. This is a movie that I haven't seen in years and years. And you bring it up, but I did not realize the notoriety and how it is looked at, with the high marks and everything. Mm-hmm. You've piqued my interest again, like you do each and every Friday. Now I want to go back and watch this doggone thing again because I haven't seen this thing in probably 30 years.
I've been kind of talking about doing this one for quite a while with you, and you've never picked it as your slot. So I always thought you were a little reticent to do this one. So A, I appreciate you indulging me, and B, if I've piqued your interest to go back and watch it, I think you'll see just how great it was and is.
There you go. The Jerk at Film School with Joe Fortunato, film study professor. You can relive it at WAKR.net. Joe joins us each and every Friday at this time here on 93.5, 1590 WAKR. My friend, thank you for the time to visit. Well done again as expected, and we'll do it